I say in the chat, it says Alana and Colin at Meeting Analytics.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks, Gemma.
You're welcome.
Everybody's arriving in, their videos are off. You're welcome to put your videos on so that Gemma can at least see there's some people there, not just a dark hole. We've got a couple of minutes to go. Nice to see you, Irina. Hope you're well.
Thank you, and you too. Hello, Gemma.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
So we have sunshine at the moment in South Africa, Gemma, which is really nice. We've had a lot of rain, and because we're coming out of our winter now, not like your winter, but our winter is quite, it's chilly and wet down here, so which is quite nice. Nothing like the Dubai winter that we were in
Yeah, completely different.
Hello, Tony, nice to see you.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well, and you?
Good to be here.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you here. It's always nice to see who jumps on our calls. And as we hit the 9 o'clock hour, everybody knows I'm quite strict when it comes to time because we're all busy people. We've got things to do, places to go, and people to meet. And today I'd love to introduce you to Gemma. Gemma is a ball of fun when it comes to personal, because I met her in Dubai at an award ceremony. We kind of clicked. Our table was the loudest, of course, because being South African, and we had South African, American, Spain, like people from all over the world at our table, and everybody just gelled together so well. And then the very next day I went off with Gemma and her friend, and we toured Dubai a little bit and had so much fun. So it's been amazing to get to know Gemma. And if you follow her on LinkedIn, which I suggest that all of you do, you'll see the most amazing things that she's doing at the moment and the awards that she's winning. So Gemma is a visionary strategist with deep understanding of communication strategy, neuroscience, and neuromarketing. As a founder of Define and founding member of EduEmo Chair, Gemma merges expertise from diverse fields to create transformative solutions for global brands. With over 20 years of experience, Gemma empowers visionary organizations by fostering lasting connections that drive sustainable growth and ongoing innovation. She has totally been recognized for so many awards and so many accolades over the last year or two even. Corporate Communication 2024, Best Mentor 2024, Women's Leadership 2023, Startup Ecosystem 2023. And Gemma spearheads projects for international clients in both Spanish and English on communication, neuromarketing, and economic behavior. And her bio is so impressive, and her accolades are absolutely amazing. So I'm really excited to have Gemma with us here, and she's all the way from Madrid, Spain. So welcome, Gemma.
Thank you so much, Diane. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy. It's an honor for me to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Gemma. And Gemma has got this unique ability when it comes to working across the sizes of companies. So it doesn't matter what size company you are, but she really taps into that communication side. So Gemma, if we can ask you a couple of questions, why is it important for businesses to get their communication right? And what does that mean?
Yeah, well, it's really important first to understand what is communication about, because people, when they talk about communication in company, usually they think about social media and marketing, and communication is much more about than this. If you talk about communication, first you have to think about the communication inside the company, because if the communication between the workers is not working, outside is not going to work. So you need to communicate inside the company, and that everyone is aligned, everyone communicates the same way, everyone understands the company and the values the same way. So then you can start communicating that outside. And then the communication is the marketing, of course, that you see, the newspapers, the TV, everything. But it's also the image you show. So the brand you have, the logo, the web page, the colors you use, the font you use when writing, because each font also communicates. So at the end, when we talk about communication, it's everything. So everything is communication. For example, if you think with Google, You think the workers go with sport shoes and they go with relaxed clothes, but if you think in a bank, they go with a suit. So they are communicating different. They are showing different. The colors they are using different, the fonts, everything is different. So communication is something really big. So when we talk about communication, that's why I work with different companies, because every company have need in one part, in one area. So when I talk, the first thing I do, I talk with the owner of the company. And when they tell me their problems, then we focus in one part of the communication.
And we spoke just before everybody jumped online, we spoke about companies not knowing what they project or what people see them for. Why is that important?
Yeah, this is really, really important. There is a question that I ask to all my customers. I ask them, how do you like your customers to talk about you? So if you are my customer and you want to talk to other one to convince them that they want to buy me, what will you say? And why is important? Because if you want your customers to say something about you, if they want, you want to say they are really fast replying to you, they are really accessible, then you have to know the processes you need to do in order to produce these results. So you have to say, okay, if I want them to see that I'm fast and I'm always there for them, maybe I have to reply the emails in the next 24 hours. Or I need to have a phone number that they can call me during the day. Or you have to prepare the processes. If you want them to say that you are trustworthy, you have to be on time. You have to tell what you do. Or if there is a mistake, to be fast and resolve it. So you need to know what you want them to see on you, and what do they want them to get. Because the product, of course, everyone wants to sell and to have a good product or service. But how do you want to be seen? Because at the end, people that do a strategic communication, there are thousands. But why some people work with me and not with other person, or with you and not with other person? It's because they like the way you treat them, the way you are, the way you interact. So you need to have clear what you want to show up. So then you connect with the people that is aligned with you.
And Gemma, do you think that this is a global thing? Do you think that, and if you say yes, it's a global thing that we need to be doing right now, how can you say that? What kind of global experience do you currently have?
Yeah, I think it's global. It's a problem that everyone has. And I talk with people that work solo and people that big companies. And this is a question that I always do to value how they are in communication. And most of them don't know. Most of them don't know the answer.
And where are you currently working? Which countries are you currently working in?
Oof. I'm working in different countries now. Mainly, well, I'm in Spain, based in Spain. So I work in Spain. I work with the Netherlands. I work with Emirates. I work with Italy. And I'm starting something with Colombia.
It's quite amazing that we have the same problems right across the world when it comes to communication. So how do you bring neuroscience in, or why is neuroscience important in the way you communicate? What does that do?
Yeah, because at the end, we have the same problem, because at the end we are people and we are animals, we like it or not. So we are created to procreate and to survive. So we all want to do is that at the end, if you look back. So then we have the same needs, and we have to be good and comfortable, and we like to have easy life and not to think. We are made not to think. So we need to know how the brain works, and we need to know how we interact and how we interpret things in order to connect with the people in the way the people understand. Sometimes if you know how the brain works, you know, for example, that if you show to a customer more than 10 products, it's going to be really difficult for them to choose. Because when more options you have, more difficult to choose. But it's in everything. If you go to a restaurant and you see the menu, I think this is something that all of us have seen. If you go to a restaurant and you have a big menu, it's really difficult to choose what to eat. But you have 4 or 5 things, then you choose. Because we feel, our brain thinks like, oh, I'm choosing the right thing. I'm doing it correct. So this is one thing that we need to understand. Then the way we show things on internet, also our brain need order and need structure. So when we create a web page and we show to people in less than a second, people can decide if they like your web page or not. We decide really fast. And it's not because we read, because we cannot read a web page that fast. But it's something that if we feel comfortable and we think that everything is aligned, then we can use it, and not. So then there are many studies and many studies to see how the brain proceeds all this information and what things are good for our brain and what things are not good for our brain. And there are even experiments that are really funny. That they show a lemon to people and they ask, what do you think, lemon is fast or slow? And people, what do you think, lemon is fast or slow?
Let's hear. Who thinks lemon is fast or slow? Pop in the chat or shout out, we don't mind. Anybody?
Definitely.
Fast. Anybody else? Everybody's sitting on the fence today. Come, fast or slow? Very quiet.
Well, they did the question to 300,000 people, and 90% say the lemon is fast. Why? We don't know. It's fast. So why they did this question? Because they wanted to do a lemonade drink. So they needed to know, and then they choose music that was fast for the advertisement. So then you have to see everything how the people see it. If it's fast, you have to show fast things so the people connect that the lemon is fast. And the sound of the lemon is one if it's fast and is one if it's slow. So you have to understand. Also, our body is more relaxed and not sad, but more down in the afternoon than in the morning. And it happens also everywhere in the world. So the communication you have to do in every time of the day is different if you want to connect. So there are many things that is how our brain works. And our brain works the same if you are a startup, that if you are a multinational, that if you are in the government.
So if you use that yellow lemon color on things that says buy now or do now or something like that, you'll get a faster reaction for people actually wanting to engage with you. Is that what you're saying?
No, in the lemon, it was for example for real lemon product. But it's true that when you say fast and you want to say to people, do it now, you don't have time, people do it more often because there is another law also that we don't want to lose anything. So we feel worse if we lose €5 or $5 than if we win 100. Because we don't want to lose everything that we lose, but we don't want to lose money, we don't want to lose status, we don't want to lose anything. So the way you communicate, sometimes you don't have to say, you are going to win this. It's like, you are not going to lose. And then when you say to the people that they are not going to lose, they feel good because anyone wants to lose.
That's fascinating. So our brains are dictated by what we see when we see marketing. So you've got to make sure that your message or what you want your brand to stand out for becomes important. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. But also if you think in the supermarket, when you go to the supermarket, when we go to buy, usually we buy fast because we know the products we want. We go to the same brand in the same place. When they change the things from place, it's like, oh, now I have to think. And we don't want to think. We go to the product. And we want to choose the product that we want in the place that we know because we don't like to think. So if you do it easy, the people choose the same. Why they change everything? Because then they want you to choose other products and to see other things. If you go straight to buy, I don't know, rice, sometimes you don't look around. But if you go to buy rice, but you are lost and you go to other areas, then you can see products and buy more.
So if I look on everybody's website, they've got to have consistency, but they've also got to have like a call to action almost, like what you want them to do.
Yeah.
What kind of tips and tricks would you think they need to think about when they're asking people to do that call to action?
You need to think about the distribution of the screen. There are areas, the two corners down, usually we don't look never there. So you want to put a call to action, don't put it never there because it's difficult to find. So you have to put it in a place that the people look. And there are things in the webpage that you can never change. The logo have to be in the top left. And if you have to sign in, it have to be in the top right. Because otherwise, if you change it, the people don't find it because we are used to it since the beginning. But the call to action, you have to be aware where to put it. And it depends how many things you have in the webpage. Because there are also studies about that. If you have 4 elements, the people look to the left, right, to the left top. But if you have 9, the people look to the center. So depending where do you have it, the people are going to find it in one way or another. So you have to, yes, you need to know a little about it, and you need to have an expert to tell you, okay, here no one is going to see it, and here everyone is going to see it. But it's good to repeat in different places also, because sometimes people want to do it at the beginning. Some people want to finish everything and they have then to decide. You have to do it, and it's important, the call to action, always do it in a different color or different font or something that is impactful, that you can see it.
Gemma, so if people have, or the different businesses have different product offerings, what is the maximum amount of offerings that we should do at any given time? Or should it only be one thing that we should be talking about? Or how many offerings could we offer at one time?
We can offer different things at the same time, but we have to be aware how to show them in the web page, for example. If you organize them really well, the maximum that you can see at the same time is 4. And if you think of the big companies, if you see Booking.com, they show you 4 locations. And Amazon, they have a big quantity of products, but they show you a list and then you choose, and there is a small list, and then you choose, it's a small list. Why? Because if they show you everything, you don't buy anything. At the end, you start filling the cart in the web page and you disconnect. So you have to show small things in a different areas. For example, if you have 2 business completely different, you can do 2 areas in your page, in web, and then in one area talk about one product, and the other area talk about other product. And you have to differentiate, because otherwise we get overwhelmed. And if you want to do it in social media, the same. You need to know really well who is your customer. Because another problem that I see really often is that people think that everyone can be their customer. And it's true, everyone can buy you, but not everyone is your customer. So you have, for example, me, I talk to startups, to governments, to corporates, I talk with everyone, but I don't communicate to everyone. Because you need to communicate to someone. And they talk completely different. So when I talk in social media, when I talk in platforms, I talk to few of them. And then everyone can come to me. And when they come to me, I talk to them in a different way. But in public, I need to talk in one way to my target, to the real people that I want to connect, the ones that are my real customer. So
And
then you go.
Who do you talk to? Which one of all of that variety do you talk to?
I talk to more medium-sized companies.
Why?
Medium, small, because those are when you start working, you start creating your buyer personas, that is called, and those are the one that I see that need more my help. And I talk to companies, tech companies, technology companies, because the tech companies, they need, the people in technology, they communicate words for this kind of thing because they are too technical, so they don't know how to translate it, complicated things to the easy people like us. So then the good thing is they know that they don't know. So it's really nice to talk to them and to help them because they let you help them. So it's the target that I like. So then I talk to them. I talk more with tech companies and I go a lot to events and technology, but then I work with everyone. I have a customer that they create cheese.
Wow.
So everything can be.
And personally, as business owners, do we need to be able to communicate a brand, or doesn't it matter anymore? Is it fine that we just have a business brand?
No, the brand you need to communicate the brand. But it's like I tell you before, it's not just to have a logo and a web page. It's to communicate in the old ways, to how do we want to talk in our company? It's important to define the voice of the company. How do we want to communicate? So then if we are 20 people, the way we communicate is the same. So the people is like they are talking with one, that the company is one, not two different people, because otherwise the people don't trust in your company. So you need to communicate in one way. You need to communicate the same in the web page and in social media with the same kind of font. The font is really important because sometimes we choose one font that we like and we don't think that this is communicating too. And the same in the food this food is really easy. For example, if you see sweet food, candies, they all have really round fonts. But if it's something spicy, it's not round. It's like really square. And for example, a kindergarten, if you go to a kindergarten and you have the fonts of HTDC, the group, it will be really weird. I wouldn't leave my kids there. Because it's round. For kids also it's round, it's more friendly.
Yeah.
So it depends how do you want to connect, you need to use a different font. You can use a font like really square, but then use a color that is more soft. So you have the structure of the square, but the soft of the color. So you have to choose, you have to think on the personality. You have to create the personality for your company. Like if it's a person, even if you are one owner or you are five, you have to create one personality for the company. And then when you know the personality, you decide, okay, this personality as we define is introvert or is extrovert or is really social, is communicative or is not communicative. And then you decide the font, you decide the colors, because if it's introvert, it's not going to be great. It's extrovert is not going to be great. Or if it's introvert, it's not going to be red. So you have to be aligned. You have to communicate everything in the same place. Like if we were one person.
We spoke just now about you going to Dubai, which is really exciting with investors. If they had to see companies and logos and people, etc., what do you think that they are looking for from the communication side? So what would I need to do in order to get their attention if I was looking from a funding point of view? Is there anything that stands out, or is there anything that's different that's needed? What do you think that they're really looking for?
Yeah, well, they are looking for a project, a really concrete project that I cannot talk yet, but they are talking about a really concrete project. So what I do is I get the information of their project, what they want to do, what they want to get, and then I'm the one communicating with the other side in Dubai. So then because I know what they want and I know the other people, so I know how to communicate in a way that they can connect and they want to say, yes, I want to meet these people. So then I create the strategy of communicating in a way that is correct. That's one thing that why the people always connect, maybe help them to connect with other people, because I read how the people are, how they like to communicate and what information do they need, and they feel important.
Yeah. And do you think that for general investors, not necessarily your ones in Dubai now, is there a certain look and feel to the way you communicate for investors?
For investors, well, one thing really important with investors is they need to trust you. For them, it's really important to trust the people and to trust the team. And one thing that you need to do is what I say, when you have a strong brand and you communicate the same way in everywhere, you get trust, because you are saying the same all the time. If not, it's like you are communicating, there is something wrong. Sometimes you don't know what it is, but you see differences in different places. So it's like, it doesn't make connection. So you have to be really honest, and you have to be careful with the expectations that you are creating, because it's also really important, not just for investors, for every company. Because sometimes we don't think about the expectations we are creating, because our customers are completely different to us. So that's why it's important to really know our customers, to know their pain points, that is called, and to know the expectations, because otherwise you can have a conversation with them or say something, and they are not going to interpret what you say the same way that they interpret. And then if you are talking face to face, it's easy because the body language helps a lot. But the words we use in written is only 7% of the information. The rest is body language, the tone of the voice, the movement, how we are dressed. So when you write, you have to be really careful with the words you use and what expectations you are creating. So for that, you need to know the other side. And with investors, it's really important, because you need to know what you communicate, how you communicate, and what is important for them, what they are looking for, what they want to solve.
And at the moment in Spain, what do you think Spain is communicating to the world? What do you think they have
A
put?
country.
Yes.
Oh, this is, I don't know if I want to say it in public.
Okay, but the nice part about it.
Well, the good part about Spain is that for holidays it's really nice, and for tourists I think it's really nice in general. There are some areas that they are creating conflict because they have a lot of tourists and they are not happy. But in general, I think we treat good people. The food is good, the weather is good, the people is friendly. So I think this part is really good and it's safe. In general, there are no big problems in Spain for the tourists.
Nice.
I
So-
think this part.
Yeah. Sorry, Gemma.
No, that I think this part is the nicest one.
Nice. Does anybody have any questions for Gemma while we continue our conversations about communication and how you're communicating and what you should be communicating? Does anybody have any questions? Please feel free to interrupt us, to put your hand up, to pop it into the chat. We don't mind. Gemma is here. She, as you can hear, she is a world of knowledge. She's been to many countries. She is definitely gaining all those awards because of the work that she's doing, and it's really important for us. And we've spoken numerous of times with many of my clients about what are you projecting, how are you positioning yourself, you know, what is the information that you're sharing. So what kind of practical questions do you have for Gemma at the moment? You're welcome to ask while we continue. So Gemma, what do you project? What do you think you project as a personal brand and a business brand?
Well, I always try to be spontaneous and creative, and I try to be direct. And I want the people to know that I'm direct, because at work, I'm also really direct. And it's something that my customers appreciate, because there are a lot of companies that they tell you a little what you want to hear, and they are more soft. For me, no. No, because if you want me to help you to communicate in a way that works, I need to tell you. Otherwise, you are not going to communicate properly. So I think those are the things that I project more. And I try to communicate, even when I talk in LinkedIn and in interviews, in magazines, I always communicate the same way. I talk the same way to you that I can talk to the people in the government, that I talk to investors and to companies, because I'm me. And my company is based in me and my personality. So at the end, I think that's important, that everything is connected.
Yeah, 100%. And when you working with all the different levels of businesses at the moment, what is one of their biggest obstacles? Why are they not getting the communication right to their clients?
But usually what I think that happens is that the people start the company and they create a logo and a web page, and they start running and they want to sell. So they start selling. They don't think about the brand and about the base. So I always tell them, it's like a house. If you don't have a solid base, the house is going to fall. So this is the same. They start selling. And then when it's not working, they realize that they haven't done the previous work. So then they create the brand, but then it's more difficult. So that's what I think. I think it's because they start creating. And it's the same with big companies. Sometimes they grow big and they didn't have time. I was in an event yesterday, and there was a big unicorn in Spain, a unicorn company. And he said that they were doing great until they were 95 workers in the company. And then they started realizing that before they was small, so they were talking to each other and everyone was updated, but they didn't have a communication plan. So then when they start growing, they realize, oh, we are losing the essence of the company. We don't know the communication. We don't know the culture of the company, because they were growing. They were just growing.
Yeah.
And there are companies like him that they work on it and they realize and they change it, but there are a lot of companies that they don't change. They continue and they don't know, because they don't know the problem is the communication.
Absolutely. Arena's put in a question: how does one ensure that the brand is communicated correctly by employees?
Yeah, well, you have to create first a lot of work, internal work with the owners of the company, and then to create a brand. And I help them to create a persona. And you create a persona with name, last names, with how is the day of that person, what she likes, what doesn't like. You create everything of this personality, and then you create the voice. And the voice is the way you have to write when you talk in the name of the company. And then you implement this in all the areas of your company, and you have to train your workers. So then you have to train them to communicate, and you have to guide them how you want to communicate. If you do it at the beginning of the company, it's easy, because when they start working, you tell them and it's easy. When you do it when the company is working maybe 2 years, then it's more difficult, because they are used to work in another way. And then you have to do it more with games and neuromarketing strategies to engage them to do the change, because they have to see what is going to be my benefit to start working in the other way. So then you have to do a work to train them. But if you have all in the manuals and everything, and you do it at the beginning, it's so easy.
And Gemma, if we talk about staff, what is a practical way to ensure, or what is a practical way to do to make sure that they understand what the brand is?
Yeah, you need to do a big research and have it well written and defined so that everyone can read it and understand. And then show it. Not only say it and have it in a booklet, but show it yourself. So if I want to be spontaneous and I want to talk and I want to be friendly, I have to behave like this. So when you write something in the web page, you have to be like this. And when you have an interview with a person that you are going to hire, you have to be like this. Because if you say that you are spontaneous, you are nice, and then you go to an interview and then you go with a suit, really serious, it's like, this is not matching. So you have to show and you have to guide them, to lead them to behave like this.
So interesting, because normally we forget those kind of things, the practical side. We've got it all in book, in policies and whatever, but practical doesn't always work. Preeti has a question. How do I strike the balance in order to synergize my personality with the business brand?
Well, the thing is your company or is another company that you work for?
It's her company.
Yeah, because if it's your company, usually the company brand and the persona is related because you create something based on you. So there are some differences, minimum differences, but you have to behave like you want your company to be shown when you are working. So if you are working and you are for example, a lawyer, usually people think the lawyers are with a suit and they have to be dressed, but maybe you are a lawyer and you don't want to be like this. So you have to define, how do I want to be seen at work? How do I want to be seen? And then you have to be adapting what you want the people to project. The same that was the first question that I say, how do you want your customers to see you? How do you want to talk about you? And you project. If it's your company, it's easy because you are going to create a company where you feel comfortable and you do it. If you go to other company, it's more difficult, but it helps you also to decide to which company you want to work. Because if I see, for example, a bank, I don't feel myself working in a bank. I don't feel my personality match. But Google, maybe I could work in Google. I'm not sure because maybe it's too much the other side. But when you have really well integrated the personality, it's easy to decide where you can fit or not.
Interesting. Preeti, would you like to make a comment?
Sorry?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Diane. Good morning, everyone. You would understand my question better, Diane, because we've had this conversation before, even with Sis Tandy. And it's interesting that Gemma would make an example of a lawyer, which is what I am, but not practicing. So I am the sole owner of my business, which is Otic Projects, and our footprint is in engineering, mining, and transport. Now, I'm having an internal battle wherein Prudy as a lawyer is standing on the one side and this Otic Projects on the other hand. Now, I'm struggling for many years now to integrate or to synergize the two. You go on social media, on my LinkedIn profile, you still find Prudy, the legal advisor, but nothing about Otic. You visit Otic Project's website. Even I have to say so myself, I'm not happy with it because it is not coming across, fully and persuasive, if I can use that word, as a business, because I feel that, some of the things are merely rhetoric. I cannot still be having a business profile or a website that would highlight my race. It's obvious I'm a Black woman, I'm rural based, but that cannot be my selling point. My selling points should be something beyond that. Yes, we've got triple BEE, but triple BEE is not going to bring me clients. It's not going to elevate me to the level where I want to be. Now, I've spoken to Diane where in one program, I was allocated somebody to assist me, with the communication strategy, but the person was just not talking to me. I could not relate. The guy is talented. He's helped many businesses, but he was not the right solution for Prudy and for Autic projects. Hence my question, you know, because it's like I'm leading a double life. On the one hand, I'm still the attorney. On the other hand, I'm a businesswoman. Now I need to put the two together so that, you know, I can have a formidable solution in the business sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's two different products, but you want to put it together. So you will have like, okay. Yeah, the thing is then you need to work really well with your brand identity first. You need to define your brand identity. How do you want to be seen? But not as a person yourself, as a business. So it's always thinking about your business. And then one thing that can help you, if you want to separate your persona from the business, is to know what values do you want to show to the public, what they are going to get from you, not the product itself, but the experience when they work with you. Like, for example, the best example for this is Nike, the sports shoes Nike. They never talk about the product. They never say, oh, my shoes are this plastic, and no, they don't say that. They talk about the values. And there are many companies that they talk about the values. They talk about what you are going to get, what you are going to win, and what you are not going to lose if you do it with me. So then I think you need to focus more on that. But for that, you need to really work your identity really well. Your identity not as a person, as a company, to define one and to create that one strong. And then when you define this, I can send you a document, Diane, later, and you can share with them. It's a document that say that all the values that we have and we want to win when we work with companies, because sometimes people want to get, I don't know, they want to have a name. I work with the best brand, with the most expensive. They want power. Some people don't want power. They want someone to hug them and to be there with them. So at the end, you have to define really well these values and these things that the customer, when they work with you, they are going to have that they don't have with other people. I don't know if it's clear.
Yeah. And Prudy
Thank you.
a phenomenal lady. She is women in transport, women in engineering, women in mining. So the different elements, you know, need to be shown, which is where the problem comes into play, because there's so many elements, and there's still Prudy and there's still her business. So, and we push her so hard to get it, to stand in that space, to, you know, like hang on to that power that she's got, because she's a phenomenal businesswoman. So a really nice comment from you, Gemma. And if you send that to me, I'll forward it to you, Prudy, so that you can have a squiz. And slowly we're going to need to push you. Her, one of the things that I absolutely love about Prudy's brand is when she goes on site, she wears a pink hard hat and pink boots. And it's just such a standout brand that she could take somewhere, but we need to find the right person to communicate, to do the communication.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, Prudy, but really nice.
Yes, important. I suggest that first you define the identity really well. And yeah, you see what values do you want to be shown in your company. Because it's what I said at the beginning too. At the end, there is many people that they do many things, but the people is going to connect with you because they like the way you do it, the way you connect with them. So when more defined and more clear do you have it, it's easier to show to the people.
So Prudy, maybe that's a whole discussion, which is quite interesting, because the lawyer part of you will never go away. So maybe the persona is more, instead of saying lawyer, maybe it should be more professional, because you're a professional person. So maybe that's the persona that you project in all the different ways. And maybe that's a way of bringing it together in some form that's a little bit different. So something to think about. Nice.
Yeah, businesswoman with a lawyer background, with a laws background, that is always give more power, because if you know about laws, you know about many things and you can help in different areas.
Absolutely. And be scared of her too, you know, be really scared because she's a lawyer.
Yeah, you see, that's my biggest challenge. I mean, hence every time I try to put Prudy the lawyer, you know, behind I close it up in a cupboard, because the minute people come to know and understand that you're an attorney, they don't want to talk to you for various reasons. Hence, every time I try to come out softer and, you know, a bit more, how can I put it? I'm not, well, my personality is a very strong one, which is also an issue for many people. So I don't know how to, to meld her a little bit so that people are more receptive, to her.
Yeah, maybe you have to focus in the business more than in the lawyer.
Mm. That's a good one. And
Sorry,
also-
I missed that.
Yeah, then maybe you have to focus more in the business part and don't talk about the lawyer. There, it's in the, if they check your LinkedIn, they can see it. But maybe you don't have to talk about the lawyer if the business you are doing is not lost.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, no point taken. Thank
But also, Prudy, you don't have to be softer. Gemma said that she's very direct when she works with her clients. And look, she's traveling the world at the moment and people are coming to her. I think it's the type of clients maybe that you scare away, or maybe the smaller ones, or the people that have got something to hide. It's also interesting.
Yeah, at the end, you find the people they like the way you communicate. There is a lot of people in Spain that they don't like when you are direct. And these kind of people don't come to me.
Tandy says, for me, it has always been about my business value proposition than me as a person. I'm always cautious of overselling myself because somehow I don't think it's about me. Except, let me just add to Tandy here, because Tandy is a very quiet, but the moment she speaks, she commands attention in the room. So there is the silent but violent lady that's right here. So it also is about her. But Gemma, I'd love to hear your comment.
Yeah, well, it's true that it depends how do you want to show your business. Some people it's about the person, some people it's about the business. There are business that you don't know who is the people behind. And you know about the company and you know about the product, but it depends. The important is that you feel comfortable with what you are doing and you create a strong personality for your company. So when I say I create a personality for your company, it's not about yourself. For example, the persona of my company is based on me, but the persona of my company is much younger than me. Because when the people think about the way I communicate, don't think about, I'm 47. They don't think about my age. They think about 30 something. So if I want to behave the way I behave, my persona of my company have to be younger. Otherwise, it would be weird. So it's based on you because you are the person that you decide. It's your company. And you decide and it's related to you because the values that you have in your own company must be related with you. But at the end, you can be shown or you can be in the back. But you need to have a personality of the company.
Does it make sense, Tandy?
It does make sense. I think for me, the battle has been the fact that I just saw that and I felt that the company values, personal values are almost exactly the same. But now my problem is that my company brand is very symbiotic with my personal brand. So if someone asks me to stand up and speak, whilst I'm selling my company, I feel as if I'm selling myself, and somehow overselling myself sounds cheap. Then I get this bit of discomfort because I'm one not to beat my drum that much. If I could take away Tandy from Tandy Consulting, I'd be the happiest. How do I separate me as a person from, because me as a person, I'm very terrible. I could get everybody else and just help them for nothing. But I run a business and it's commercial. So how do I separate myself from that?
Well,
Or how do I create the space between me and the company?
but I think this is a learning process. When I start, I was doing 1 hour free of consulting for everyone. And why I changed doing that, the first hours free, because I was not doing communication. The people were coming to me and telling me their problems. I was more like a psychologue. And I was like, okay, this is not working because I was helping people in things not related to business. It's good because it helped me to create ideas. From the problems, I was like, oh, I can do something with that. But at the end, I said, okay, I cannot give anything for free because I was doing it because I like to help people. And I like to be there for people. So I was like, okay, I do one for free, but it was not working because at the end, the people were not taking me serious. They were coming, having one for free, and then never come back. So when I start saying, okay, no, I have to separate, and with my friends, or sometimes even some customers that become friends, sometimes I give them a mentorship session for free. It's okay. But when it's business, they have to pay since the beginning. So for me, it was a process.
And Tandy, maybe it is time to call it TCT rather than Tandy Consulting. Maybe just have it as TCT for now. Build that.
Yeah. I continue to use TCT, and it also helps to have crew of friends like Diane, who will always remind you that you're not Mother Teresa.
I don't let my clients do things for free, Gemma, because we're not charities. So they all know by now. If they tell me that they're going to speak for free or do this for free, they get shut down very quickly.
It's important. When I started, I was doing it, and it was horrible. Then I say, no, this is not working anymore. And I stop.
Yeah, because you don't value yourself or your knowledge or anything after that. But I think it's quite an important one that Tandy's brought up, because a lot of us get into this kind of space where we have a company's name, but we've built the company. So Tandy comes with a huge amount of experience, corporate knowledge, all that kind of stuff. So I think that somewhere in the brand, Gemma, it should be highlighted, maybe not the person, but the type of experience or the type of knowledge or the type of something, so that it elevates the brand a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, it can be implicit in some way. And you don't have to say the person, but to show the knowledge in some way, and maybe some projects or something that you can talk about. I don't know the business, so I don't know. For example, I cannot talk about the job that I do because it's a strategy. So I cannot talk about it. But if you have a project that you can talk about it, maybe you can talk in a way that is not your persona, but the results that you get.
Yeah. Nice. And I think that that's quite important too, because we kind of forget about the results that we get, and we don't have to use companies' names. We don't have to use industry or whatever, but the results become important. I mean, Tandy, you deal a lot with smaller businesses at the moment, and small to medium-sized businesses, and the results that you get after some of the projects that you've done are immense, are amazing for the businesses.
Yeah. No, that's very true. That's very true. And I think the catch is that I also do consulting for blue chip corporates and bigger businesses. So now I cannot, in terms of the copy, start, but I hear you, Dan. Maybe I should just talk about the results and not about the businesses per se.
Absolutely.
Themselves. Yeah.
And I think that you're probably in a very similar situation to what Gemma is in, because Gemma works across all the sizes of the businesses.
Yeah.
So instead of talking about size of business, to talk about what you do for the businesses. So like Gemma says, hers is communication. So yours could be purely strategy, and these are the results, and you don't have to talk about the size of company, industry, or what name of company or whatever, but a business achieved this once working with you, etc. I think, Gemma, that would be kind of the information maybe that you would talk about.
Yeah, when I can talk about in general, but I cannot talk about what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it's a strategy, if you do a strategy, you cannot talk about it, but you can talk about the results, or for example, the countries you work with, or But what you do that is different, and they can get this from you. Not the strategy itself, but what they can get from you.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Tandy, maybe go and link up with Gemma on LinkedIn and go and see kind of information she's sharing or articles she's writing, because maybe that will help you boost the TCT now, from that point of view, because I think that the size of company now no longer matters. I think it's what you do for them is important.
No, definitely. I'll link up with you. And maybe talk about the work that I've been doing now with the multinationals sitting in the US. But it's their leadership and it's sensitive stuff. for the region, for the continent. So how do I immediately when I say automotive organization based in Detroit, people think 1, 2, 3, it is this. And
Yeah, well,
I can't speak any longer.
maybe you can talk in one moment about one subject, another moment about another subject. So it's related, but not all together.
Yeah, okay.
For example, I write for a magazines in Spain, and the last article I wrote was about the brand identity, how people don't talk about the brand identity and they think it's only the logo. And before I did another article about how important is the font you use to write. And this article was, all the magazines were contacting me. Can I share the article? I was like, wow. Because it's a thing that everyone in communication knows,
Yeah.
but people don't talk about it. So you can think about the things that you know, all the questions that customers always ask you, because usually there are 2, 3 questions that they ask you all the time. So you can do an article, something solving that problem. Not counting all the details, because they have to, if they want all the details, they have to come to you. But you can solve the problem in a surface way. And then they know that you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what you do.
Nice.
I'll link up with you. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Any other questions for Gemma as we're coming towards the end of our hour together? That was great conversations, and I think we can all learn from one another because often we struggle with the same situations. So it was great discussions. Anybody else with any more questions for Gemma before we start wrapping it up? Gemma and I will be meeting up in November in London when we both go and accept another award, which is really exciting times.
Nice.
It's always exciting to get together. I hope we get to tour London like we did Dubai. That was loads of fun. Go and link up with Gemma. Her LinkedIn, she shares information, articles, and what she's up to. Also go and link up with Gemma and ask her questions about the countries that she's working in. Maybe there's opportunities that she notices that we haven't seen before, and she's working in a variety of countries at the moment, which is phenomenal. We were just commenting before everybody jumped online how we had always said we would like to work globally, and now suddenly the amount of travel that the two of us are doing is quite astounding. But it's always exciting to be able to jump on a plane and go to the next country. So any further questions for Gemma from a communication point of view, a neuroscience, and neuromarketing? Do you need an answer for a dilemma that you're sitting with right now? Or are you all fabulous and know exactly what you're doing with your brand? Are we all good? Gemma, last tips and tricks. If you had to give everybody 3 tips from a communication point of view, what would those 3 tips be?
The most important, be careful with the expectations that you create in every communication you do in every way. And think about what would you like your customers to say about you. And then be sure that all your communications are aligned, that you are showing everything in the same way. Like you do for your person, do it for your company. So that everyone that see it recognize your company. They see that, okay, this is the same, then the same.
Nice. We have a very big move towards diversity, equity, and inclusion in South Africa. Prudie mentioned BE, which is a part of the policies that we have in South Africa. But in the world now, a lot are going towards that direction. It's only started in a lot of countries, so a lot of countries are very new, whereas we've had it for years. What is your take on it? Should people be talking about that they are women-owned businesses? When I was in America now, a package of, I can't remember what it was, crisps or something, had at the top of it, part of their brand strategy was to have women-owned, family-run business, which was the very first time I'd seen on an actual product. Is it important from a world perspective at the moment to have something like that incorporated in your brand?
I think it depends. What do you want to do and where do you want to do it? So I don't think it's a solution for everyone. I think everyone have to think what is better for them and for the kind of job they do and how they do it and for the people that they want to connect with. Because it depends. If you work with a really masculine world and always with men maybe it's not the best thing to do. Or maybe yes, depend the kind of man. So either, for example, in Google My Business, there is an option that you can put. It's a business run for a woman, and I did it. I put it.
Okay, that's interesting. Google My Business.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put it, my business is run by a woman. But for example, in my webpage, in my social media, I don't do it. Then I have customers that they do it. I have a girl that she does social media, but all her customers are women. So at the end, she talk to woman direct. She don't talk to, she say if a man comes, he's welcome, but they don't come. So she talk to woman. And she say that her business is run by a woman.
And do you see, do you work with across the board, men and women? So even though you've put it on Google My Business, you notice that you pick up clients across the board, men and women.
Yeah. I have more men than women. Because also I work with technology, and most of the technology companies are men.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is good.
An interesting conversation that we had. Thank you, everybody. No last questions. And then we're going to wrap it up and say a huge thank you. Enjoy Spain today. I hope it's beautiful weather, and I wish you luck, and I can't wait to see you next month and have fun together again. And a huge thank you for your time. We will be putting the recording onto the YouTube channel. So if you missed out any of it, or if you want to go back and go and listen to what Gemma had to say, then please go and listen to it on our YouTube channel. It will be there for everybody to listen to. Huge thank you. Link up with Gemma and have an absolutely amazing day. Huge thanks, Gemma. Everybody.
Thank you so much. It was a
So
pleasure.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Nice. As everybody closes off, thank you so much, Gemma, for your time and all your knowledge and all your input. It's always really exciting to hear, and also to see the questions that everybody else is bringing to the table. You know, I love listening to the